Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everybody. My name is Suzanne Carowin. I'm the Vice President of Communications and Marketing here at NAFA. And today we're going to explore publications and more. I'm going to touch on a couple of media items. I'm going to make sure that you really understand all of the different publications we have, and I'll probably do some additional color commentary because I haven't actually documented everything in the slide deck, but I think you'll get a good sense of all of the different resources you have here at NAFA, and hopefully more importantly, how you can use this as a platform for your own voice. And I'm going to really emphasize this. As you know, hopefully have been told, we are very member driven. And so the people that we want really producing content, speaking, etc., are you. So we're going to talk about that and hopefully how we can engage you as well. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and we're going to just really go through what our publications are so you're aware of them. So SmartBrief is the first one I'm going to cover. I note as I go, I'm going to kind of note which ones are for members only, which ones are open to members and non-members, the media, the public, etc., your companies. If you want to pass it along, tell a friend, more the better. SmartBrief is the first one. SmartBrief is you can get to it on our website and you have to sign up for it. So it's opt-in, but if you go under media, it will be a link there for SmartBrief. And SmartBrief is basically it's a newsletter you get every morning in your inbox. And what it does is it aggregates a lot of the top stories out there. So think of it as a bird's eye view of what's going on in the financial services industry. So most of the stories are taken from your things like Think Advisor and Financial Advisor and Investment Newsnet, etc. And so they go through and it aggregates it all together based on an algorithm about what's most popular. And you'll be able to get that and see that in your inbox every morning. So versus you having to go to all the different trade publications, which there are so many, this is a way to kind of call that together and have you be on top of your game, etc. At the very bottom of SmartBrief also, we will put in a specific little story that's about NAFA. So it's a good little reminder about, like for example, next week we're having a CEO panel of our CEO at NAFA, Kevin Mayu, the Ken Benson from SIFMA, Wayne Chopas from IRI, and Susan Neely from ACLI. So we'll put in those types of little, items to say, hey, might be something else that you want to take part in. Again, it's public, so it's going to be public-facing information that we're putting out there. But SmartBrief is a really great way to, excuse me, most of our advisors will sign up for it and also oftentimes kind of send it around the office and say everybody should get this. I know I just got feedback this past week that there's a Guardian group out there and the managing partner was telling everyone, hey, make sure you sign up for this. It's a great tool. We're top of our game. We're going to have our kind of the news we need from an investment side and insurance side, etc. So a great resource there for SmartBrief. So again, aggregated content coming into your inbox every morning. There's not per se any way to, participate in this one. It does include advertisement and whatnot. Okay. So second is going to be Advisor Today, which is our magazine. And so Advisor Today, if I'm not mistaken, is about 85 or so years old. And it used to be a full printed magazine. We're actually going to bring it back as a printed magazine for at least one issue this year because so many of our members just sorely miss it. And I think it would be quite nice, again, in so much digital, so much emailing, to actually have something in hand. And so the idea is that we're going to bring it back one time this year, distribute it at our Performance Plus Purpose Conference as kind of a program slash keepsake, because it is our 130th anniversary. And then next year actually budget to have it quarterly. But nonetheless, despite that, Advisor Today has two pieces to it. One is it's its own website, which is at.nafa.org, and it's own website, which is really a blog. And so it is also our digital magazine. So there's two pieces there. So you go to at.nafa.org and you'll see the entire site. and you can browse by topic, you can search, etc. And if you notice, you have pieces in there where you can also browse by topic. Now, what's interesting about Advisor Today is, like I said, it is a full digital magazine. You can see if I go under digital magazine, I'll see all the issues laid out for me. And if I click into one of those, I will be able to go ahead and start reading that online. What I find even nicer than that is most of the time I'm not that interested personally in sitting here and reading online on my computer. But what I do like to do is scroll through it when I'm sitting in my, armchair, I'm sitting on the couch, etc. And so one thing that I wanted to tell you that really is nice about AT, we call it AT internally. If you've been at NAIFA a while, you hear it called AT, is that there is a full mobile app for it. And so if you just search for Advisor Today, and then you can just click on your issue and it comes out very beautifully on your mobile. And then you can just go through and scroll through it and be able to read all of the articles as well. So I want to point that piece out. Now, the other really important point about Advisor Today, not only is it, a way for you to say, wow, this is kind of the lifestyle magazine of what's going on in our membership. And we try to highlight our members. We try to highlight what's happening. We very much are trying to follow the same format of advocate, educate, differentiate. We try to make sure that we put in content that's coming out of each of our centers. So our Talent Development Center, our Limited and Extended Care Planning Center, our Business Performance Center. We try to have everything nicely fit together as part of our content structure here at NAIFA. But maybe the most important is the fact that you can write for Advisor Today, for the blog, and possibly for the magazine as well. And so we're always looking for people to cover. We're always looking for stories, etc. So I'm just showing you now the Advisor Today blog. All I did was scroll down a little bit further on the at.naifa.org. And you can see this is another great way to see what we're doing, bird's eye view of what's happening kind of in our industry. We're always on the lookout for what good things our members are doing in their communities, within their companies, with their clients, award winnings. We'd like to point those people out. I have a little saying that I use all the time, which is there's no such thing as too much love. Our job here at NAIFA is to promote you, right? So we just had a town hall speaker about a week ago, and he said there's prospecting and then there's everything else. And so if we can help you with that big piece of your business, which is helping you to differentiate yourself through publications, through speaking, through being in the media, then I absolutely see that as our job one. So I'm always looking out, and my whole team at NAIFA is trying to constantly look for who's doing something that we can recognize and reward. So for example, yesterday, Northwestern Mutual came out and was citing the Forbes list of top wealth advisors, wealth management, women in wealth management. And 3 of the 5 top advisors were NAIFA members. So what a great opportunity to not only cite Northwestern Mutuals, their 3 members that were listed there, but also to really give the recognition to not only that they're NAIFA members, but we had NAIFA members in North Carolina, NAIFA Kansas, and NAIFA Illinois. And so it's really important that we're always trying to tell that story, and we're trying to get that in front of us. So we're always looking for, feed us, send in the information, let us know how we can, help you. Again, as one of our members said to me, who we published in the Advisor Today blog, he said, Suzanne, he goes, what do you think I did with the article that I just got published in Advisor Today magazine and blog? He's like, don't you think I sent it to all of my clients? And I was like, I certainly hope you did. And he said, yeah, they were really amazed. Like, I just got published in this major national association's, publication. And I said, that's exactly how you want to think of it. And that's exactly how you want to use it, because you can then turn it around and use it for your prospecting, showcase that you are an expert in a particular area, et cetera, or tell some interesting stories. And I think that also is something to really highlight about our NAIFA member community, is that we're all very interesting people. And there's a lot of fun there too. And it's nice to get that flavor, and it's not just so financial services industry, right? So we try to make sure that we're continuing to tell more of, again, a lifestyle story, looking for other things that will help you, from, let's say, discount programs, et cetera, to really, live NAIFA. We have many a member that says, I don't do NAIFA, I am NAIFA. And so if that's the case, and we, let's say we have a member who's came to us and said, hey, and again, not so much right now during COVID-19, but maybe going forward in the future, said, look, I'm probably doing 5 to 7 meetings a week at Panera Bread. Shouldn't we have a discount program with Panera Bread? And it's like, yeah, that's part of his lifestyle about where he's doing these meetings. And wouldn't it make sense to talk about that, tie in some name dropping to Panera Bread, get them to understand what a force we are? Because if he's doing that, it means we have many other thousands of people. So it's making those connections about how we can get your name out there, connected with other influential brands, connected with other influential companies, et cetera, to again, help elevate the profile, right? It's all personal branding at this point, as we all know. One other thing I'd point out about Advisor Today blog, it's down there at that right kind of bottom corner. I'll show my cursor right there. And for every issue that we put out, we have a poll, which is called AT Asks, and it's just a little interactive poll. But what's interesting about that is it's kind of the first foray that you'll see about us getting into a new cycle of constantly sense and respond, right? We're constantly gonna ask questions, constantly gonna get your feedback back, and then roll it into new content, it's a good market research tool into understanding what other kinds of education that we need to produce, et cetera. And so if you just get used to being polled and surveyed, and most of our members love it because it's interactive and it's fun and you get to see what everybody else said. So it's just something I just wanted to bring your attention to and understand that as NAFA evolves into 2020, and we go forward, we're becoming more and more of a thought leadership, research kind of pushing forward and really making sure that we're serving our members based on what they're telling us. So I'm, again, going to keep reiterating, your voice is critical. Your voice is critical. And so we're here to collect your voice and to put it to, formulate a plan, and then how do we move forward? And of course, that's across not just our publications, but our advocacy efforts, et cetera. And I'll talk about that in a little bit, a couple minutes. All right, so again, if you notice at the top of the screen, I just wanted to point out that under contribute, it will give you all the requirements if you yourself want to submit an article to be published, and it will tell you all of the details, this many words, et cetera, et cetera. Here's our guidelines for submission and whatnot. But we have another opportunity too, which is called, maybe you don't have time to sit down, like you have all the best intentions in the world of sitting down and writing an article, but that's not really what you're doing all the time. Maybe that's just not your forte, is to sit down and write, but you have a great story. Well, we have a team of people that we are more than happy for you to book time with us, and we'll interview you and just get the details of your story, and we'll write it for you, get you to review it if you need to send it through compliance, et cetera. No problem. And we'll get that all packaged up and then out there and published. And then you can go ahead and share it on your social media and whatnot, and share it to whomever you'd like to. So we try to make it extremely easy because we understand you're very busy, and it's, time is money in your business for sure. So, and we're here, like I said, to promote you. So just an opportunity I really want everyone to be extremely aware of, that we can make it super easy to do this. And again, if there's a topic you think we're not covering, like for example, right now, it's Disability Insurance Awareness Month. Maybe you're in a DI practice and you're like, you know what, we would like to have a panel of 3 of our advisors who are all talking back and forth about a particular topic, or get 3 different views. There's so many things we can do with content, right? It's endless. So just think about, I think that something's not being told in the American public right now, whether to the consumer side or within our financial advisor agent community. And you're like, yeah, I think we need to kind of delve into this topic. Let me know. Let's see what we can do with that. And again, bring it to light. Okay. So changing gears again. One thing I want to make you aware of is that we have a monthly member newsletter, and this is something we just implemented literally this month. So we have been continuously figuring out how we can best do our communications. COVID-19 certainly threw a new curveball into that mix, where now everybody has gone digital. I totally am aware of how many emails that you get, et cetera. Actually, in talking about that, let me give a pause for a second and tell you about some of the other emails that you'll get from NAFA. So be on the lookout for this one. So because there's so many emails coming to you, What we did is we decided to go to once a month, and it's the top of the month. We're going to send that. So we're going to do a little bit of what's called a Janus approach, which is we're going to do a little month in review from the previous month and then a little look ahead for the coming month. The monthly membership newsletter looks like this. It's called NAFA Nation, and it's got kind of 3 big parts. You're going to have your overview, and then you have advocate, educate, and differentiate, always going back to delivering on our membership promise. And then basically, we're just going to give you a highlight as to what you need to know, like the top things that happen that month. Then all of this, since this is a members only, is going to push you back into the membership site, right? So a lot of this content now is going to be located on members.nafa.org, and we're going to have email do what email's supposed to do, which is to alert you that something's happening over on a website that you need to go and see there, because there's only this much, area or content availability in email, but it's endless within a website. And so we're going to do that and make sure it's very quick, very brief, and it's letting you know either, again, what's already happened. And by the way, everything we do at NAFA, almost everything, unless there's a contractual reason we can't, we typically do also record and offer it on demand. So we want to make sure that we are appealing to everybody. We've got people from Guam to Hawaii to Alaska and all of the continental US there. So we try to make sure that we, are thinking about that, and that you're getting that in your inbox and you're alert, you're aware of it coming at the beginning of the month. So again, the member site will continue to be built out. If you're new to NAFA, it doesn't really matter to you because it's all new, but those sites have just gone live within the last, 6 weeks. So everything is still coming into play and we're just continuing to improve. So something to be aware of. Now, as a member, I wanted to make this comment about other publications you'll receive. I'm going to back up and talk about Advisor Today. So in addition to the Advisor Today blog, email notification you'll get about what's happening there, you'll also get at the top of when the issue is created and it's launched, you will get an email from the publisher, which is called Nailer. That's the company that does it, that tells you, hi, here's the email, or here's the articles that are in the new edition, and the new edition is available. So be on the lookout for that one too. Again, those are things that it's up to you. For each one of these email subscriptions, you can decide what you want to receive and what you don't. So it should be in your hands about how you want to do that. You'll also sometimes get other emails from our third-party affinity providers. So for example, you might get an email, or likely you'll get something in the mail from, let's say, rental car companies or some of our discount programs that we have under the affinity program. And again, we're trying to cull that down and make sure that it's a good use of your time, but I just wanted to make you aware that those are other emails that you might receive. So the emails we're talking about here are all coming from national. Your state or if you have a local might send you email in addition. What we'd ask is, can you make sure that you keep all of them? Because the state should be telling you things specific to your state, the local, of course, specific to your local, and then the national one is going to give you the broad swath of everything that we're doing. And it's critical because when it comes time to talk to Congress, when it comes time to take part in kind of our big national membership meetings such as NAFA Live, you want to make sure you've got that information. So, right, so we've got 3 tiers. As you know, it's a 130-year-old organization, so there's just no end to the amount of offerings that we have. You could be doing something NAFA probably every day of the week. All right. So another publication that is, again, extremely members only is GovTalk. And this is one of those national publications that you want to make sure that you are aware of and you're receiving. And if you, by the way, if you should accidentally opt out of any of these, or if you should say to yourself, I don't remember receiving that, you can always call our customer support team and they can get you back and connected. We do rely heavily on email, of course, because we're a not-for-profit and we do have 25,000 members, and a first-class stamp times 25,000 is a whole lot of money. So we want to make sure that we're using your membership fees very judiciously. So we do ask that you kind of stay connected within email so we can all stay in touch. But we do have many other channels, as we'll talk about in just a moment. So One of the big member benefits, of course, is that you have so wisely decided to belong to your professional association. And one of the things, of course, that comes with that is that we're doing advocacy on your behalf with you, hopefully. Hopefully you're politically involved as well. And we're doing that at the state, interstate, and federal levels. And so about the 15th of the month, you will receive a publication called GovTalk. And so again, it's a little bit, if there's a Monday holiday, it might shift a little bit between the 16th or 17th, but right about mid-month, you'll get GovTalk. And that will come to your inbox, and that is going to be really a summary of everything that's happening at both the federal, state, and interstate level. So it's a bird's eye view again about all the work that's happening that we pulled together for you. And the archives and the actual full issues or full articles of all of this is again found within the member website under Advocate, because that is also organized as Advocate, Educate, Differentiate. And you'll see in there, there's a whole GovTalk section. Now, should there be breaking news that's happening, for example, we've had a couple of these in the last couple of weeks with the CARES Act and whatnot, we will send a Gov alert, or a Gov update is what it's called. And so that will come in for a specific, something like you really need to be aware of and need to know. So just to keep that in mind, but this is the standard one that's going to come each month. We also will take this GovTalk and we take a version of it and we send it out to many of our advocacy partners. So just so you're aware, if you are over on the Women in Financial Services site or NAILBA or NIA or LIA, or AIFPA, you'll also see a version of this. We are very proud to be their advocacy partner. And so when we go to Capitol Hill, we're bringing all of those sister organizations with us. So if you didn't know that, I'd like to throw that in because we're very proud to represent them and bring their members in as well. Okay, so I mentioned other ways that we communicate and then other ways that you can also participate. So, you know, backing up for a second, most of our members are not participating in writing anything for GovTalk or Gov updates. This is really coming from our government relations teams. However, where the pieces come in for the member participation and certainly the member recognition and publicity opportunities, I guess I would say, would be in actually participating in advocacy efforts. So whether that is getting involved in a committee, it's going to your state legislative day, it's coming to congressional conference, or in this case, hopefully we see you all at NAIFA Nation Impact Week during our advocacy and action day, or participating in writing letters, etc. There are great opportunities for you to get good publicity and media relations kind of opportunities through political action, right? So if you're really looking to differentiate yourself, there's some phenomenal ways that you can do that and represent not just yourself and your own community, but also, you know, NAIFA in that process. So aside from, we were talking about email, and websites, let's talk about social media and the opportunities that social media affords you as a member and what you can expect from the channels that we have. So within social media, we are on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Not surprising, probably for any of those. We do have a LinkedIn group that's out there that you can join. We do have some particular Facebook groups. For example, we have a Facebook group for Lilly alumni. So certain times we will use different groups for different programs and whatnot. Our Instagram channel we are building out. And we do have a few different YouTube channels as well that we use. NAIFA National will be the one where you can find, again, most of the recordings and things like that. So typically our on-demand archives will work, that you'll come to our site, you'll go to a page that's an archive page, you quickly fill out your name, email, and you'll go to the archive, and you just come to the full archive page of like all NAIFA lives that have happened, making it again easy for you. The thing that I want to point out on social media is I want to give you a little bit of a flavor about each one of our channels and kind of the differences of them. So Twitter, of course, is going to be the most formal and business oriented and far more advocacy oriented. So Twitter is certainly the channel, maybe you've heard that, you know, people like the president and a lot of our congressional leaders, they use Twitter a lot. So certainly from the government relations side, and certainly from our association partners, such as like ACLI, or NAILBA, or any of the big kind of organizations, they're very heavily involved in Twitter. And so when you're looking for Twitter, for us, if you're on Twitter, that's the type of content that you're going to expect to see. Okay, and so we use Twitter in a far more formal manner in that regard. We don't do a ton of advertising through Twitter in terms of like promoting our events. You'll see some of it, but typically that's not really the flavor of Twitter for us. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, that's the type of content you'll expect. Now, the nice thing about Twitter, of course, is you can use hashtags like you can on some of the other platforms now, but Twitter, of course, is really kind of the founder of the hashtag. And the hashtag that I want to point out to you is hashtag NAIFA Proud. And if you put that into a post that you're making, what we do is we constantly are aggregating content as well. Much like SmartBrief is aggregating content across the trade publications, we're always on the hunt for looking for the hashtag NAIFA Proud, because what that allows us to do is, even if we're not following you, so you're not going to come up in our feed, we will be able to see NAIFA Proud and that you've posted to that. And then what we'll do is 9 times out of 10, we will elevate you further, and we'll retweet that and put a comment on it, or we'll push it up to the national level. So it's not uncommon that, let's say, a state wants to recognize you, or a local, and so they've recognized you, and then we can see that. And so now you can get the benefit of being in front of the people that are following the local, the people that are following the state, and then the people that are following national. Right? And so we're always looking for how can you get that amplification of your personal brand connected with NAIFA, right? So we have that kind of game of influence. And so that's something I just want to point out, that you can use that NAIFA Proud. So we have a lot of members who will take selfies, we'll take a quick video, etc. They'll talk about what they're doing. And then again, it allows us to go ahead and do that. And certainly we have campaigns that we run as well that we'll talk about again in just a moment. So that's Twitter. Now, a lot of what I've seen, a lot of these states and locals don't do as much on Twitter, but just so you know that we're out there, and there are times when you'll see us a lot of activity. Again, things like thank you at Senator so-and-so for your support of a particular bill. Those are always ones where we're going to say to you, if you can follow that, if you can follow us and watch us and then help to support that by a retweet, a like, things like that, depending on the channel, it goes a long way. Because believe me, our congressional leaders, somebody in their office is out there watching. And so it allows us, again, to amplify the voice of the producer in this kind of channel. And it's extremely important nowadays that we have that, and we have that presence. Okay, so second, I'm going to turn to LinkedIn. So if on our LinkedIn company page, that's one we would ask, go ahead and follow that as well. We'll put up announcements, etc. You can also go ahead and start to interconnect with your different members, etc. throughout LinkedIn. And then you'll also see me increasingly on my own page start to name drop and connect people, etc. So look at those, feel free to connect with me, because again, I'm in the business of you, so it just makes sense to do that. And we'll just continue to use that. And like I said, there's also a LinkedIn group, okay? Facebook. Facebook is probably and I should say the flavor of LinkedIn, of course, is what LinkedIn is. It's all business. It's being able to connect. It's being able to name drop. It's being able to talk about different companies. It's being able to position us with different influential people. So it's very much about the networking of business people. Facebook, the flavor of that is a little bit different. So here we try to do more things that are very much like member centric, and put up things like happy anniversary to people, or if somebody sends in something funny. We have a wonderful member in Pennsylvania his name is Drew Shumsky, who's very heavily involved, and his dog Seamus. Drew is so impassioned about NAIFA, he requires everyone in his office to be a member, inclusive of his dog Seamus. So his dog Seamus is a big part of his practice. He's there for all of the consultations. He helps to put a lot of his clients to ease, etc. So he's just part of the package. It's Drew, who's the financial planner, and he has a partner who's an estate attorney. And the two of them and Seamus just take all the consultations right then and there, and they're able to do really comprehensive planning for their set of clients. So Facebook is a great place to start talking about Seamus and, you know, what Seamus has done. And Drew sends me pictures from all their adventures and all the places they go. And in particular, they often are helping parents with children that have disabilities or maybe have other kinds of health issues. And so Seamus is a big piece of putting everybody to ease and kind of taking some of the tension off of it. That is Facebook is a perfect place to tell those stories. We have a lot of people in our membership who are runners, who are athletes, who are musicians, who are also, you know, Kiwanis members, whatever the case. It's again, telling the community, making it fun. We're still a very fun community. So you'll see a lot of that type of stuff on Facebook, right? Most of our members are on Facebook because they're there looking for clients themselves, trying to keep in touch with clients. So again, you'll see a pretty robust kind of presence that we have there. We do advertising on Facebook, so you'll see that possibly crop up for you as well. On Instagram, again, Instagram is our newest channel. And again, you're gonna see probably more so event marketing items. Again, if we have some lifestyle things, et cetera. But that's really where most of our followers we're collecting there have no idea of NAIFA, and it's really kind of our getting in front of them and doing some brand awareness. So that's what you'll see on Instagram. And then on YouTube, again, you know, that's where you're gonna find our archive of all of our videos, and most of everything we point back to that, et cetera, okay? So bottom line, feel free to connect with all of us. We try to, by the way, go back and follow you, right? So we reciprocate, and we wanna make sure that we're doing that, and we're good stewards of social media relationships. So if you follow us, we'll follow you, and we, of course, are looking through that all the time with the different tools that we have. Your take-home message is being able to put up content with hashtag NAIFA Proud and making sure that we see that, we get that. And we're building out more and more ways for you to get content to us easily that we can, again, aggregate and promote. Okay. So speaking of that, what are other ways that you can get involved? So what can you do? So one thing I want to make you aware of is we're in process of building out a national speakers bureau that will be inclusive of everyone. So I know there are some states that have their own. We're building one for everyone that you can then find a speaker, and it'll be a speaker/author bureau, I guess is a better way to put it. So we're always looking for people that we can vet and to say, hi, here's somebody and here's their expertise. And if you're looking for a speaker, because you have to think, our local chapters, our state chapters, our Performance Plus Purpose Conference, we have a Big Ideas webinars series. We've got all sorts of other webinars we do. We're always looking for people who are experts in their space. So we're putting that together for people who want to write, be interviewed, be the spokesperson for. It would be great if we knew that in the state of Arizona, if a topic comes up that the media wants to talk about somebody who's an expert in succession planning, boom, we'd have your name and can put you right in touch. And again, our job is to make the members shine. So we're putting all of those types of things together. And so if you're interested in that, I just wanted to let you know, because that's something you want to kind of be on the ground floor in and get into that whole bureau and get into your speaking cycle and writing cycle and start to collect that body of work. Campaigns. I put this in here because I want to make you aware, again, we're moving towards how do we make this as participatory as possible. And again, one of the positives of COVID-19 is that it's helped NAIFA Nation really become a much flatter structure and not be so geographically bound and et cetera. And we can all get together virtually, which means that we can all share on social media. And again, that doesn't have state lines or, you know, local city lines, et cetera. So what we're doing more and more so, and we'll continue to do, is more campaigns where we're asking again to how can we amass as many video clips we can around saying, you know, happy 130th anniversary NAIFA. Or in particular right now, we're doing a call for video clips to say, basically, I'm essential to NAIFA and I'm going to go to NAIFA Impact Week and I want to invite you to do so as well. So we'll often have a video clip kind of campaign. We'll give you the script, and we just got a new piece of software which we're super excited about, which basically shows you, you download the app and then it will show you what shots you want to take, and it will give you the script, and you just take it on your phone, boom, 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 and take the shots. We get the content, we get the video, and we can put together great promo videos. So you'll see that. Just want to make you aware, another way we're doing media publication type of stuff of these video clip campaigns. We have those ongoing. We're always looking for people who want to talk direct to consumers about, you name it, what's happening right now in COVID-19, financial literacy, any of those things. If we can get you out in front, if you can use our platform and we can use you in your voice talking about what you do and your work, that is a win-win-win for everyone, right? Just like your congressional leaders, while they love our lobbyists, they'd still rather hear from their direct constituent. Same thing with the media, same thing with other members out there. They want to hear member to member. And so again, can't emphasize enough, that's our job to make that happen. I mentioned also, when we were talking about advocacy in particular, or letter writing, right? So in the world of advocacy, letter writing is still extremely important. So we often will do a kind of a call for a campaign to say who could add their name to this, opinion editorial that we want to put in, or who can add their name on behalf of your state or on behalf of this kind of specialty to a letter that we're going to send to a congressional leader or to a state leader, et cetera, or to a company. So we're always looking for those types of things. So we'll do a kind of a call to who's interested and ask you, do you need to go through compliance? Can you just go ahead? Are you independent? Can you do that? So we have kind of a running list. So when an opportunity comes up, again, we're at the ready to know who can be on what we call the go team. Okay, so if you're interested in that and saying yes, absolutely. And we're doing more things to template letters. So for example, we might do a letter that we put out to say, let's say after your legislative day, and it's like saying, dear, however you want to say it, dear governor, dear leader, your state leaders, I was participating in my state legislative day on behalf of my insurance agency, and here's what we care about, and here's the talking points. And you can just take it, fill in your piece, and go ahead and submit it right to your, state leaders or congressional leaders, et cetera. How can we make it super easy for you to get that visibility and be part of the process? And so we are often, when you hear op-ed letters or letters to leaders, that's what we're talking about. And again, oftentimes those get picked up by newspapers, right? So I put in one for one of our members here in Ohio, and he got picked up the next day by the Columbus Dispatch, right? Which is a pretty large publication. And here it is talking about Dave Cranfield and his work within NAFA. So again, good for Dave Cranfield, definitely good for NAFA Ohio, even better for NAFA as a whole. So we were able to do that and put that at all three levels of local, state, and national, okay? Last thing I wanted to mention is a campaign that's going on right now, and will continue to go on probably for the rest of the year. And this is with ACLI. So ACLI is the association that represents the insurance companies. We work very closely with them for many a campaign where we are in alignment on the issues. But they have a campaign that they've put out called Meeting the Moment. And I just wanted to make sure we talked about this because it might be something that or you're doing right now and you want to get involved in, or that somebody out there in your agency or community, et cetera, who's doing this. And that is, they're looking for financial advisors and agents who are kind of doing those extraordinary things during COVID-19. So how are you meeting the moment of this very stressful time? So it could be you're meeting the moment by helping in some particular way, through financial education to a client, and therefore helping the longer term economy. You might be meeting the moment by getting that person who didn't have a term life insurance policy there, or answering a question on the P&C side about business interruption insurance. You also might be meeting the moment by, simply going out and wearing face masks and sewing them at night. Again, one of my favorite members, Drew Shumsky, he sent us a picture of him delivering lunches at a local hospital. So any of those things that you're doing, go ahead and submit those to us, because we make a beautiful graphic. We showcase where you are, we tell the story, and we tag it Meeting the Moment. And this campaign is only going on Twitter, but there is an enormous amount, like millions of people are seeing this. So if you want a little publicity and get in front of that many people in a kind of an industry-wide campaign, then that is something that I would absolutely alert you to, and you can go ahead and submit that to us. Okay, and so the last piece I wanted to kind of wrap up with today is making sure that you understand where you can do some of these things. And so if you're on the member site, which is members.nefa.org, and you go under the volunteers site, which is the volunteers navigation, which is all the way at the top right there, you will see that there are many different pages that are talking about different ways that you can volunteer and how to get involved. And so you can see some of the things there, like writing articles, being a media ambassador, a social media ambassador, how you can get involved in our community financial wellness program, et cetera. And that is an important piece for you just to be aware of and to develop and start talking about and thinking about, because we have everything from micro volunteerism, like, yeah, hey, I'll be a social media ambassador and just when I see something like it and just get your name out there, you know, saying thank you for our social media ambassadors, all the way, of course, to being extremely heavily involved in NAFA and running for, you know, office or being on your board of your local, state, national, et cetera. So there is no end in sight to the ways that you can volunteer and participate. And hopefully I've told a great story during this time about how also you can use our publications to not only for self-improvement, for education and being aware of what's happening in the industry, but also to really use it as a platform to help you differentiate yourself. And again, help us to deliver on the value proposition of what it is to be a member of NAFA. Because I should mention, for everything we're doing, so the Advisor Today blog, the magazine, for many of the things we do for speakers, we're very biased in making sure that the people that we're promoting are NAFA members. So that becomes something, again, that we don't take anybody. It is a benefit of being a member, is to be able to be on those platforms that we're talking about, social media, magazine, et cetera, and being promoted. So I'm going to stop right there, and I thank you for everybody's time.